stand as one, walk with thousands.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dad Bods and Beards. We've got a fun one today. We've got our buddy Robert Michaelis in the studio all the way from Florida. We'll get into that. You guys should know him. We've talked about him 100 times on the show. And we had you back on. We had you on in July, almost 2 years ago. After the Vegas trip, we did the little. We were just the computer.
Was that a Copper John's or was
No,
that?
it was a
You
Dad-
told me
it was
that
a
earlier.
Dad
I
Bods.
forgot when we got in little cameras.
It was a little Dad Bods episode.
Was it? I really thought it was a Copper John's.
It was only like episode like 8 or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we're going way back in the archives. But like always, before we get started, I wanted to highlight our primary sponsor, Mountain Ops. We couldn't have done any of this without Mountain Ops. You guys know that whole story.
benchwarm you.
Everything you can benchwarm me. And everything from the pre-workouts to the sleep gummies to the hydration packets, everything. They've been fueling us this whole drive. So go check out mountainops.com. Use code DADBODS. You'll get 20% off. And then every purchase online goes towards feeding families in need.
I had a night today.
And then we're going to start talking about this too, but Dad Bods has got new merch. You guys have seen the other stuff, like the old hats where we just got the logos and things like that. We got a bunch of fun Father's Day shirts, a bunch of fun beard shirts, and then a bunch of really cool, solidarity, mental health based shirts.
And we're going to start bringing in chinos. We're bringing in flannels.
Yeah.
So because I love flannel.
Yeah. I mean, I think in Utah, I've seen a bunch of flannels.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a thing.
It is.
Yeah. And so without further ado, bro, thank you for coming all the way out.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Yeah.
Well, not inviting me, kind of forcing me.
I kind of, yeah.
Hey, I'm going to run a marathon and you have to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny, like,
And
so
we did that. We're doing that in December again, too.
Yeah.
So
in August, I guess.
You met our coach Brock last night, and I told you
meet.
he's a whole vibe, dude.
He is.
And he is a squirrely little guy that just brings out the best in everybody. And back in October, just for anybody who doesn't know, he challenged me to do something hard and push myself, and we landed on marathon, which was the Utah Valley Marathon on June 7th, which is tomorrow. And then I'm like, okay, I got to tell a couple people to hold me accountable.
Sure.
So I immediately think of calling you after I've called Tyson and a couple other buddies. And then you're like, I'll come and do it with you.
100%.
So now I'm like, Robert's coming all the way out from Florida. I have no way out now.
Yeah. Well, when you
Like-
FaceTime me, when you're like, hey, I need you to do it, I had no other way out.
Yeah.
I knew immediately. I booked it on my phone. I was like, we're going.
Yeah. So that right there speaks a lot to, I think, the friendship, right? That you're willing to come all the way out and do that. But at the same time, like it speaks to, I think, who you are as a person, that you've inspired me and Tyson a ton since we not only been friends with you on social media, but then when we met up in Vegas. And I feel like it was one of those things of, this is only the second time we've ever seen each other.
It's crazy. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah. So we were dying to bring you on the show for over a year, just like for a single
Yeah,
episode.
we asked a long time ago.
I know you did.
Yeah. And so we want to kind of get into as much or as little as you want to talk about. But like you got started on TikTok during what? COVID?
My kids actually like, hey, well, I was on Facebook and I had a pretty good following in fitness and stuff like that. And my son said, hey, you need to do TikTok. You're missing out on a huge audience here and you can get your message out there. And I was like, all right, I have much else to do. It's 2020. We're locked in the house for a little bit. And so I got on TikTok and just blew up, sharing my story.
So what was it that blew up? Was it the story? Was it the beard? Was it everything?
Well, like I tell everybody, this is the catalyst. It's the catalyst to get people to a message.
Yeah.
Losing weight, doing hard shit early, whatever the message is, this brings them in, gratitude, all of it. So I think the beard just really set the tone for the message I was trying to give out.
Yeah.
So I do beard videos and then I'd pepper in, me screaming in my car. I know you guys have seen those.
I love those
everyone
ones.
does.
Those are my favorite, but I felt like if I only make those, I really didn't get like the traction. So I had to, throw a beard bun,
That's how I am.
throw a beard braid in. And it's usually, they'll go, who's this guy? And then they find my main message and it's amazing. And the TikTok blew up.
That's cool, dude. Yeah, I mean, it was funny. Like I was following you on TikTok long before I even got started on TikTok. And then Tyson's like, oh, so I got this guy, Robert, we've been working with for a little bit. And I'm like, Robert Michaelis? He's like, yeah. And so that was this cool little celebrity moment. Then he went out to Vegas and stuff. But one of the biggest things I want to touch on is that I think is one of the things I think you're most well known for is the wake up list.
Wake up list.
So give us the rundown. What's the wake up list?
So the wake up list,
We're going to keep that in.
So the wake up list is something I just came up with probably 4 or 5 years ago. I wanted to immediately, when I wake up, the first thing I want to do every morning is go over a gratitude list. Whether you type it in your phone, whether you say it out loud, whether you write it down, that's the building block to start your day.
Yeah.
Because it's the small things are the big things. Like they really, really are. And once I realized that, it made life a little bit easier. When I was having a bad day, I'd go immediately to gratitude. So that's the first thing I do when I wake up. Then I get active. I do something hard, whether it's run. I just discovered running two years ago. So I do that immediately. I get up, I run, I do something hard. Off the bat, makes me feel better, sets my day up. So I got gratitude, action, and then I'm of service to others. That's the wake up list. I call it all gas, no brakes, GAS. Gratitude, action, and service.
Oh, I like that.
When I do those things,
I love gas.
when I do, you know,
You've got gas.
when I do those things, I've noticed it just, my life has done this. And some days it's hard. It's absolutely hard. And some days I don't want to do it, but I have to force myself to do those things. And that's how I became up with the wake up list. And I just started yelling it, screaming it, because I wanted people. And at first I thought it was silly because I battle that brain. My brain tells me nobody wants to hear this shit. I hear it all the time. I battle it every single day. So I get up and I say it, and I know if I can just, one person hears it. And then I started getting messages. Bro, you changed my life, which is, it gives me goosebumps. Insane.
Huh?
Insane. You see him? Bro, you need some more hair, I think. Anyway.
Hey, don't judge.
Look at that. It's like,
Don't
I had that in
judge.
first grade.
I'm lucky I even have this.
So when I started getting messages, I was like, this is purpose. This is a big purpose in my life. And
So what is gratitude to you? What is the definition of gratitude?
oh my gosh. The definition of gratitude, I mean, finding peace in the chaos, finding small things that matter when big things bring you down, finding hope, finding it's so much, it's everything for me.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, when that voice goes off, I immediately, because I have that, like I told you, that voice, like it'll just happen random days, you know, it tells me, are you a good dad? Are you a piece of shit? Are you doing this right? Are you doing this right? And I have to find gratitude immediately because I have to shut that voice up, or I have to get active in the morning to shut that voice up.
Yeah.
I couldn't gratitude's everything. Yeah. Gratitude is magic. Gratitude changes everything. It turns what you have into enough.
But you, it hasn't always been that way for you though, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Can we go down that road a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So what was it before the gratitude? When did you discover it? And then kind of like, because we kind of went backwards, right? We're talking about where you're at now.
Yeah.
But like, when was it that you discovered gratitude, and what was it like getting to that?
So it's foggy, and the reason it's foggy is because I abused drugs for a long time, so it's tough for me to really get an exact date. But I just remember I always was the poor pity me guy, you know.
Yeah.
And I was addicted to painkillers, and I was lazy. I was unmotivated, and everything bad would just happen to me. I felt like it was just going to happen, but I was putting no good out there. So I think God, the universe, whatever you call it. I think that was way of saying you gotta change. And I was overweight. Like I said, I was addicted to painkillers. I was prescribed stuff for bipolar, manic depressant, all kinds of pills. And I got addicted to Adderall at a young age. 15 years old, my mom had me prescribed Adderall. So which is basically meth, if we're being honest, for kids. It's synthetic meth. It said it on the bottle. I remember reading it at 15. It said amphetamine salt. I didn't know what it was then. So I started taking that, and I was chasing a high. I didn't know. I just wanted that feeling. It numbed me a lot growing up. And I moved a lot growing up. So I always had to fit in growing up. Bunch of schools on Adderall, started trying to fit in with the crowds. You know, you move to a different school, you want to be accepted. So you try to do whatever to be accepted. Yeah. And I was a piece of shit, but I hid it well because clean cut, blonde hair, blue-eyed kid, new school. No one knew me. So I could always fuck up, and then they'd put me into another school. And I went back and forth from parents. I developed the addiction to Adderall. I had friends that just wanted to buy pills from me, you know, so I started selling Adderall. And from selling Adderall, I went to selling weed, you know, just down that route. So I became literally addicted to those. Then I had some back issues in high school, got addicted to painkillers. So then I had the Adderall, the painkillers, So then I was going to doctors, telling them this, leaving out what I was taking recreationally. So they were prescribing me this. I was up, down. It was a roller coaster. I couldn't go to sleep. I would stay up for days at a time. And this was in my teenage years, you know, and I hid it well. My parents, I was with my mom, and I went back and forth from my mom to my dad to my mom, then to my grandma. So it's basically like, who's going to deal with this kid? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were trying to be parents too. I know that now. So I was always trying to find somewhere where I fit in, and I was always trying to be something I wasn't. I would lie. I would cheat. I would steal. I'd be your best friend, steal your wallet and go buy drugs, more drugs with it. I was a piece of shit, man. And I carried that into my 20s. I got arrested, drug charges, operating a vehicle on drugs. I went in and I was in and out of jail in my 20s, violated probation. I don't know how I didn't go to prison. I did just county. I don't know how I didn't go to prison. I was just, I'd fuck up, I'd get off. I'd fuck up, I'd get off. And my dad, bless his heart, he was an enabler. He just wanted to see me better. You know, he wanted to see the good in me. And there was no good. I was immune to it all. And then, you know, early 20s, I had that whole scare. I thought I was going to go to prison. I did 2 years on house arrest, and I was still sneaking drugs on house arrest with the loom of going to federal prison over my head. That's how addicted I was to drugs. Yeah. I needed that more than anything. And I look back now, and it's like a whole nother life. Like I can't even fathom the way I was, but my life, there was nothing. It was nothingness. Like I had really no relationships, really. I was just living with, you know, users, people who sold drugs. There was no friendships. I was just a fake person. And I didn't know it back then because it was so fogged up in my mind for so long because I was so on drugs. And through that time, I started gaining all my weight in my 20s. I'm jumping all over, but it's just so tough for me because it's so spotty. Because like I said, I was on Adderall, Percocet, Vicodin. I ended up somewhere one night in a fight in an alley, and I had my jaw broke. So they wired my jaw closed shut. And I was on Xanax, and I was so fucked up. I didn't even know my jaw was broke till I woke up the next morning. And I tried to put food in it. My jaw didn't open. And I didn't even feel it because I was on so many drugs. So I went and got my jaw wired shut. And through all this, I'd leave this out, through all this, somehow I met Samantha, who's my wife now. This was like in my mid 20s. I got another girl pregnant, so I had a baby. And this is all in the mix. Like this is just all in the blur. And I'm just learning it sucks because I didn't know how to be a dad, you know? So I have a baby. I have a woman that had my baby. And now I got Samantha in my life. I'm out doing drugs, getting in fights in parking lots. I've got my mouth wired shut. I'm trying to maintain a job. And just, it's like, and I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I hid it from people, but you think you hide it from people, but everybody fucking knows. Everybody knows. And my dad, he knew, but he didn't know how to help me. So he would enable me. Samantha comes in my life. I hide it from her. She's trying to, you know, go to nursing school. She's trying to make something for our family. And I'm, you know, running the fucking streets. There was a time when I was I had like 5 different doctors, and I would get Adderall, and I would take the whole bottle in a week and not sleep for a whole week. Oh. Not sleep for a whole week. And this is in front of my kids. Yeah. And I remember, it's crazy. Like I go back and I feel like I need to go back to these places a lot. That's why when you guys told me to come on the podcast, like my first thought is absolutely not. And I know when that red flag goes up, when that brain says absolutely not, I need to do it 99% of the time. So I remember there was a Christmas, I would go, I'd take my kids' Christmas presents and I'd sell them so I could get money for drugs. And I go back to these places and I look at that fucking guy and I don't even know who he is. I don't know. And so that's why I'm so big with the way I am now. But it's crazy to me because I don't know that person seems like a different person because his path was so lost. And I think it just from getting school to school, parent to parent, moving to a grandma, trying to fit in on drugs, no empathy. And it's just this snowball. I shouldn't even fucking be here. Like there were so many times I'll be laying in bed at night and I go back there. Like it's like flashbacks. And I'm looking, I'm like, how the hell am I even here? Yeah. How the hell am I even here? And I think there's a reason. I know there's a reason. So fast forward, me and Samantha, you know, she's trying to go to nursing school, right? I'm a drug addict, just a full-fledged functioning fucking drug addict. I could go to work, and I feel like people didn't know, but they tell me now, like, you could tell. You know, you could tell. I would stay up for weeks at a time, leave my house, steal my kid's shit, and sell it. And I'm trying, you know, I'm not, in my head, I'm like, I'm not this fucking person. But I don't know how to fix it, you know? So Sam, she comes into my life. She's about to have my second child. She had a son that she brought in, who's my stepson. So he's watching his stepdad, who's just an absolute fucking loser. You know what I mean? Just a loser. Really, just a loser. And didn't even care about it. So Samantha comes in my life, and she sees just this chaos, this path. And it's so funny. She's trying to go to nursing school to become a nurse and better her life. I'm hanging on by a thread, you know, getting arrested every, you know, whatever, 4 or 5 months. I've got a arrest record, trying to raise kids. She actually got a whiteboard, right? And she put it in our hallway. And my big downfall was Adderall. I could never kick it. I felt like I needed it to function. I felt like, so when I was in high school, I played golf. I was a really good golfer. And I felt like Adderall focused me more. Like I really needed it to hone in. And plus I could do other drugs, and Adderall kind of sobered you up. So I could do all the other downers, and I take Adderall and I'm immediately zooming. So I tried to function with it, you know, in my 20s. And then when I met Samantha, she puts this whiteboard up in our house, and she writes all the side effects from Adderall. Big. She's going to nursing school. She's telling me, what are you doing? I'm like, I can handle this. She knows I can't handle it. So she's like anxious or whatever, just everything that was me that I was fighting. I told her, why are you being this way to me? And she's like, these are all the side effects of the life you're living. And this is how this ends. And I saw it every day. And then it just all came to a head. My late 20s, she gave birth to my child. I don't even remember my son being born. I was so high on drugs. I don't even remember it. How do you tell your kid that? And I would say I had like back pain or back to the whole jaw pain. I would tell the doctors I needed liquid Vicodin. I ripped the wires out of my mouth when I had my broken jaw just so I could put pills between my teeth to get high. I ripped my whole jaw open. I told him I had a nightmare. I still remember this. I went in there and I told the doctor I had a nightmare, and I jerked at night and I ripped steel out of my mouth. This guy looks at me like, you're a fucking idiot. No, you didn't. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I would lie right to your face. But anyway, Samantha, she's like, you can't, you know, you can't keep living like this. Then my poor dad wanted you're his son. He wanted everything. He's my rock. And he sees his son, you know, he sees me going through all these, like I'm in and out of the hospital. You know, this all just comes back. I was out with some friends one night. We were all on pills, and I don't know what happened. We got in a car accident. I busted my whole head open, and somehow I wandered to a gas station, and like 5 cops were trying to huddle me in a corner. It's all vague to me. And I guess one of the cops was friends with my dad, and he called my dad, and my dad came and got me, and I got out of this situation just like I wiggled my way out of every fucking situation ever. Yeah. So it just kept the downhill slide. And then my poor wife, you know, she's trying to do her thing in nursing school. Like I said, she wants me to get clean and get off drugs. And my dad, I left this out. I worked for my dad. So I'm coming to his place of business, you know, on pills, embarrassing as shit. And he just finally, he just told me one day, he's like, he said, he's a very religious man. And he said, I prayed to God, I can't worry about you anymore. He said, you have nowhere to go. Came to me one day, he said, you're not going to that house with your wife and kids ever again until you get fixed. You're fired. Took everything. I had nothing. And that didn't even do it. I found another dealer to live with for a while until I kept getting more down there. Then I was in a hotel. And then finally one day my dad says, you know, we're going to put you in treatment. And I think I was just tired. I think I was just tired. It wasn't about missing. I had no empathy in me. Those drugs, they robbed me of who I was. I had nothing. And I had no money. I had nowhere to go. I'm in a hotel room with people I don't know.
So you just gave in? Is basically
I gave up. Yeah, I was done. I didn't even fight it. I had no fight left, you know. I think I was just so out of it on drugs. I was just like, whatever.
You just knew you weren't happy.
I just said whatever. And we got in that car. I still remember driving over there. And in my head, I was so mad I didn't do every drug I had. That's how bad of a drug addict I was.
Oh, wow.
I was so mad that, because I still had some in the room. I was like, I should have took all those before I came here. So then we drive and he takes me to inpatient drug treatment. And it took me 3 weeks to be functionable. I was in a hospital environment. They had to detox me off every drug you can think of.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, it was crack, meth. I mean, anything I get my fucking hands on just to feel that way. Left my family, left my kids, could give two shits. So they put me in inpatient rehab, and took about 3 weeks to I remember they would come in every day and they make me hold my hands out, and it was just like this, just because all the drugs, detoxing, sweating, couldn't keep my heart rate down. And so then after 3 weeks, they put you into like a camp with a bunch of drug addicts. And even coming to, I still fought it.
Yeah.
I still fought it because I started having to go to therapy after I started having to address all this shit with groups of people, one-on-one sessions, and there's no way to numb it. There's no way to numb it anymore. So you got to face all this shit. And I remember telling the lady, I was like, I can't do this. If you guys don't let me leave here, I'm going to kill myself. Which, you know, on drugs and on all the pills, I've already, you know, been down that route when I couldn't get them or whatever, suicide, all that shit. So I battled that. And then they Baker acted me because they're like, okay, we don't take lightly to, you know, drug addicts saying they're going to kill themselves. So then I got Baker acted. I went to a hospital, and I got to see what actual crazy was, you know. So after 2 weeks of that, I'm begging my dad to get me out of this place. He's fighting, holding on because he wanted to. He wanted to save his son. I'm calling him every day, crying on the phone, like, come get me. And he's, you know, he tells me this story back. He tells me like how he was coming to get me one time, and he pulls off the side of the road, and he's like, he doesn't know what to do because he wants his son healthy, but he doesn't want me. You know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, Dad, this isn't where I need to be. I'm telling him everything I've told him my whole life, everything, you know, everything he wants to hear. And he pulled off the side of the road, and he just said he cried out to God, and he's just like, I don't know what to do. And he said he felt this peace come over him, and he goes, you just have to let him learn. Yeah. Leave him there. You can't do this anymore. And he did, and he made me stick it out. And I was in that treatment center for months. Started to get clear. My kids could come and visit. My wife would come and visit, which is just so weird once you're sobered up, you know, off all the pills and shit, having your kids come there. I was just like, this is insane. And I would have to go to these groups of 100 people and tell my deepest, darkest secrets, but it made it really easy to be real again. And it made it really easy to speak my truth and not be that fake fucking person I was for so long, you know, and be real me. And I felt like I was getting back, whatever getting back is, you know, from 15 to 30, it was a blur. Yeah. And I was just miserable. It really was. Even looking back now, it's such a blur. And so I learned how to confront all this there, all the past traumas and everything.
Which isn't easy.
No. It's not. It's hard for me because you want to blame somebody, you know, and I wanted to blame my parents, and they were learning how to be parents. Mm-hmm. I'm a parent now. I'm learning how to be a parent. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. But once I started doing it over and over again, just confronting every single thing, being 100% honest with who I am, why I'm here, what got me here, it just made life a lot easier. So I get out of there and, everything's good. And then I relapsed because I felt like I needed to get back on Adderall. So I relapse and I take a whole bottle in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like how, dude?
Surprise! I don't know how I wasn't in the hospital, but I remember walking around my house, with like wraps and towels over my head because my body was so hot. And my wife just said, she left me. She goes, she goes, it's done. It's over. I'm taking your kids and everything. And then I moved into an apartment and something just clicked and I got my shit together. I begged her, just fucking begged her. I was way overweight. And then I found, started reading books, started listening to podcasts, found the Wake Up List, found gratitude. And I just leaned into it. So I still get pop-ups from videos years ago where I really first started realizing the changes. But I think the difference is, just a clear mind. It was just, I had a clear mind and I saw how it changed me. And that's why I'm big on the gratitude, action, and service. I got healthy. I started losing weight. I really leaned into my family, gratitude. There's so much more. It's just crazy how I got to the place. It's hard because there's not a click moment. It's just, it's a time period,
Yeah.
And then I always thought like I needed all this shit to survive. And once I realized like you just have to be a good person. It all comes back. It really, really does. If you're a bad person, it all comes back. And I feel so bad I did that, Tim. I still think about it. Sorry, guys. Like I apologize to him so many times that I feel like it's not enough. Like I even missed the part like he got cancer. Like through all this, when I relapsed, he had cancer. And I wasn't there for it. Like I couldn't be there for him because I was on drugs.
Do you feel like, how you talking about your dad right now and, the whole story, everything you just shared with us. I think every dad, every guy is going to have like those pain moments, right? Obviously yours are very deep. Do you feel like at least the man that we see as a father, who see who you are and the experiences we've seen with you and just the handful of times we've physically hung out with you, do you feel like that's shaped who you are as a dad? Because you're second to none when I see the way you treat.
Do I feel like my dad shaped me as a dad?
No, like your experience of what you're feeling like, what you missed out as a son to a father. Do you feel like that's shaped you and how you parent?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think one thing I've had this conversation with other people. I think if you didn't have remorse, that'd probably be more of a concern.
Yeah, the shame. That's funny. I sat in that one-on-one treatment center, and the lady, like the shame, like I was like, I'm not worthy. Like I've made so many mistakes and I'm so far gone. I'm not worth saving. Like I remember having this conversation with her, and I've got a wife and kids and I didn't care. I'm like, they're better off without me. And all the past mistakes I've done, like there's no way I'm ever going to be able to live a healthy, functioning life. She goes, you have to let go of that shame. She goes, you have to let go of that shame. And, that's my big message when I talk to people, like, because you feel so bad about your past mistakes, man. You can't stay there. It's done. And if you stay there, you're going to ruin the life you have now. So I came to terms with it. I hate it, obviously, but
Yeah.
I was in active addiction and I was a different person. The guy you see now, you guys would walk right by me back then. You wouldn't even know. That's why I share like the pictures of back then, the jail photos and stuff. Cause it's a whole different look at eyes are dead.
That's the relatability though, is whether or not someone's been in your exact situation, we can all find parts of ourselves in each other when we express like that authenticity through vulnerability.
Yeah.
Well, I really like what you're doing now with gratitude, gratitude,
Action
and
service.
service. To me, gratitude, the reason why I ask this is because to me, gratitude is like pure love, just being happy and being grateful, being thankful for them with nothing in return.
I like your definition.
And it's just like, I love you. It doesn't matter how you feel towards me, but I love you and I'm grateful for you. Thank you. And that's what it is to me. And I feel like that's exactly what you're showing everyone. And you have so much empathy towards people. You have so much love for other people or gratitude for other people that you just emulate it. And you're teaching us that, dude, doesn't matter where you've been. It's okay. Like, you can make it out of this.
100%.
And I think people see that through, and that's how come the bear, like you said, sucks them in, kind of like our
catalyst.
humor.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, we're going to get you.
I am thoroughly convinced it's a reason to bring people to my story. I am thoroughly convinced. And it's so crazy because
That's me and my cleavage.
Yeah.
Jeez, never can go a single episode.
No, without doing it.
Yeah, well, geez.
But I think that which is so crazy, it's such a flip of the coin because I had no empathy back then. And now it's
almost too much.
It is.
Yeah.
I feel so much I have to back out of situations because I feel it. And I don't want to feel it that hard. And I feel it for other people. And it's just.
Well, it's a blessing. And I think I'd say, I mean, I was addicted to Adderall too. Because being bipolar, before that, ADHD. I mean, I was the Adderall stories. I'm like, I was like reliving the feelings when you were talking about that, and not realizing I was addicted to it until I needed to get off.
Didn't even know I was
it.
trying to get high. I was just taking these pills the doctor gave me.
And so
a bunch of them.
The same thing of like one of the side effects being like a lack of empathy and all that you like.
Zero.
And so it's funny of like, now I look at empathy as this blessing and a curse of kind of like, sometimes you feel too much.
I respond that a lot on social
people.
media. I say it's a blessing and it is a curse. Yeah.
And so I love that we were kind of talking about that. And you were just kind of going back to when you were saying you had that moment of clarity when you realizing that like Sam and the kids are almost gone, right? Like you're living
I think
in
it was rock
apartment.
bottom. I think that was my rock bottom. I really do. And I say it all the time, like rock bottom's a solid foundation on how I rebuilt my life. And it's been 11, 12 years of just constant work. And I've just seen it. This person you see today, I've just seen this. And I'm not talking like money, it's just life.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I have to say something, and it's religious. I apologize. Like I'm a religious person.
Yes.
And I believe in God, and I believe there's this thing called repentance, and you guys know this. But I think someone who's truly repentant changes the way they look at things and changes their view. They feel the remorse, but they don't feel the guilt. They remember so they don't do it again, but they also remember so that they can uplift. And I believe that's what true repentance is. And I feel like basically you have transitioned your life into such a positive because of the negativity and the stuff that you did that you don't want anyone else to feel that way.
I don't.
Because it is freaking miserable down there.
Yeah.
And you want people, and to me, that's just, that's the definition of like everything that Christ teaches, everything like that. And I'm just like, dude, me too.
You know what's funny is it relates to everything, mental health, everything. It's not just being a drug. I mean,
yeah,
I was there too. Like I sat in therapist's office and they diagnosed me with this. You know, I still battle depression. That's why I do what I do. I still, that voice I tell you about, man, it'll chirp in the weirdest, happiest times. That voice would be like, "You're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
are you really being a good person?" You know, and I battle it, and that's why I get up and I go hard and I share it and I repent. And I feel like I let that shame and that guilt. I feel like I left it there. It's gone. I'm done with it.
You remember it, but it's
Well, like I said, I like to go touch it. Yeah. Like when I was going to do this podcast, I knew I was going to go back there. I'm laying there in my bed this morning thinking about. I'm bawling in my. That's a scary place.
Well, and that's the thing is sometimes in emotions and expressing emotions can sometimes be a finicky thing because some people that maybe have not gone that vulnerable before, they think that when you share that and you feel those emotions that it's like, oh, it's unresolved trauma or it's whatever. I'm like, I allow myself to remember those painful moments because I'm realizing that those painful moments are what built me.
They made you.
Yeah. And I've shared this story before, but one of the big things for me is I got really heavy into breath work and meditation. And with my, I was very religious for a long time. And now I'm more of a spiritual guy. And I have had these moments where in these breath work and meditation sessions where I was screaming at God in my head or whoever's out there or whatever's out there being like, why did you let me go through this? And it's like similar, like I'm sure you had similar feelings, right?
Oh, 1000%.
And then the feeling, I think I told you this last night of I had these feelings of like, I had to break you so I could build you because the influence that, whoever or whatever is out there needs you to have because that's how humans grow. We grow through connection, relatability, and feeling like we are seen and heard by other people. And so that's why I feel like your story is so important, is because not that your story is not unique, but that like, even if someone is not at the same level, or even if they're farther than where
gone.
you've been,
Yeah.
it's like seeing that, like, well, I can get it back too. I can get back too. I can get, like, you have a beautiful family.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful life.
Yeah.
And like, we were talking about this on the way up to the studio, like, dude, you inspire me, and you inspire Tyson, you inspire so many people out there. And it's like,
We're running a freaking marathon.
because of freaking you.
always at half marathon.
And the thing is like, and it's like, every time I mean, you've seen me start and stop a couple of different fitness attempts over the couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's like every single time I'm feeling like, well, I got to tell Robert, because Robert's going to keep me accountable.
Yeah.
Because it's like, Robert's been there. Robert was a big guy. He knows how hard it is to start and stop and to give up and like feel like you want to do better. And it's not just the fitness, but it's like the wanting to be a better dad, wanting to be. And I mean, when we were in Vegas and we had a long, hard day, Tyson driving us around for an hour to find just Buffalo Wild Wings.
I hate Vegas.
Worst ever.
And then it's like typical
really
family stuff. I mean, your boy ended up having a little bit of a hard time, and watching you take him to the side, get down to his level, and talk to him.
Yeah.
Like, that's a moment that was seared into my brain, is like, I've got littles. And so it's watching you talk to, like, and how you're handling like teenagers. And so the point that we wanted to bring you on is not just to like recount this super emotional story, but to show like the true change is possible at any moment in your life. Yeah. There is no too far gone.
Zero.
Until you're gone.
Gone,
literally gone. And so the drive that we have here, and we've had these experiences, and I shared a few with you, of like, we're trying to catch guys before they're gone, to show that, I mean, we have close personal friends that were as far as almost gone. And I love what you said about rock bottom. It's almost like changing the perspective of kind of like, no, now you're down to the concrete.
You have not been buried. You've been planted. Now f***ing grow. That's like, what I tell people. That's what it is. Look at it that way.
Yeah. I'm like, now you're down to the concrete. So anchor into that concrete and go up.
Yeah. I'm just grateful that you guys have the platforms you have. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm just like, oh,
Chill.
I get messages, and I'm all the time, and I'm just like, this is so amazing. And you say you're religious, however you want to call it. That's God put me here for a reason.
Oh, yes.
And he saved me for a reason. And I saw something on Facebook the other day. It was 2 doors, a blue door and a red door. And it said $10 million through this door, or you can go back and fix all your mistakes. And listen, there was no thought, give me the money. That if I go back, who am I then? Mm-hmm. If I go back, like you say, maybe I needed that to become who I am now. And like my kids, you say, I have such awesome kids, and I watch them, and I'm like, this is so amazing. They are such good people. And if I'm dead and gone, and there's one thing, and my kids are good people, then I've won.
Yeah,
I've won. If they're kind, compassionate, they can show their emotions, because mine do. My boys are not afraid to show their emotions. If they can do that, then I've won as a father, because I always hid mine because I felt like it was weak. It's a superpower. To be able to feel and show and be real and show people the real you is a superpower, because they feel comfortable. And
you're one of the most masculine men I know. Dead serious.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, dude.
I don't.
Hands down.
Maybe it's the back hair.
Yeah. shoulder or back. Yeah. Everywhere.
But see, this is, I'm glad that you're saying that, because I mean, I think maybe our parents' generations, the boomers and stuff like that, sometimes will say, not all of them will be like, oh, kids these days or something. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, like imagine what our kids are going to be like when they're raising kids. Mm-hmm. Like, we're raising the next generation of these like hyper emotionally intelligent individuals that like Tyson's kids. I mean, Isaac coming to you at 20 years old, being like, oh, I want to do this with my future. And then him watching you, for example, and being like, you know what, Dad, I want to get into, becoming a therapy or a social worker, because I want to continue to help people.
That's awesome.
And it's like my 9-year-old coming to me and expressing to me her emotions about how some things I've done or said have made her feel. Yeah. And I'm like, I would have never at 9 years old gone and sat my dad down and been like, hey, when you said this to me, I felt like this. Mm-hmm. And it's not any, slight to my dad, but it was like how he was raised and how they were raised.
They were learning to be parents too, and just so like we are. Mm-hmm.
I feel like we get to be these parents to these little superhumans that are going to just shape the world even more. So it's almost kind of like Gen X and millennials. Like, it's kind of like, okay, we get to, the cool part of our history is people are going to look back and be like, these were the pivot generations. Yeah. These were the people that were like, enough of this. Yeah. Let's do things different. Let's take the hardest broken parts of ourselves and let's like impart the best knowledge we have towards the next little group of humans.
And yeah,
And I feel like they're taking it and running with it.
I share everything I share with you guys. I tell my boys know it. And I think that's great because they know their dad is not perfect. And if you make a mistake, you own it. And they are so much better than I was. And I think it's because I've been such an open, honest father with them. And they saw me at my worst. You know, they were little, but they'll pop up now and then. Hey, remember this? And it eats me alive. But you know what? I had to go there to be here.
Sometimes it's humbling too when you know you made a mistake and you have to talk to your kids about it.
Yeah, I call it out. Sometimes I'll call it out and they're like, Dad, no, that was cool. No, I didn't take it like that. Because sometimes I overthink. So, and sometimes I'll overthink it. You do a lot because you'll send me text, sorry about this. And I'll be like, sorry for what? I was like, I didn't even think of that.
I know 100% I overthink, but that's why
it's exhausting.
I think it's a characteristic of empathy though.
I do too.
Overthinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
or people pleasing.
Yeah.
Codependence. And that's what I suffer from.
But how cool is that?
My dad, we were talking about my dad, our relationship and the way he was with me as far as an enabler. He's such a people pleaser. That is, but
and
like
usually it's
how
due
could
to
you not be
trauma
with your
when you're a
kids, though?
kid about not feeling accepted. And
I'm
so
saying with
therefore you're
everybody.
battling.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
But how cool is it though that your kids and your boys, especially your older boys, get to just not. I don't mean this in a negative way at all, but they get to compare dad now to who he was, and it's just kind of like dad, that just reaffirms the whole that every little boy thinks dad's
See,
Superman.
and this is when I want your wife to come in. No joke. I'm like, tell us how it was and tell her how it is now. She said no.
Yeah. I'll go ask her. She would tell her how what was when we were going through it.
Her side and say how much she loves you and how much she cares about you.
I just would love it. It would just really be good because she's such my fucking rock, guys. You have no idea.
She's amazing.
She saved my life.
No,
she
100%.
saved my life.
Like Logan with Chelsea, 100%.
That's how it is.
I gotta just let me try one time. I don't want. She won't.
She's shaking her head behind the glass. So as two guys that we've built our whole brand off of being called the Dad Bods, and now we're like affectionately called the Dad Bods even in like networking circles. I think it's kind of cool that we're also getting recognized for the positive changes that we've been making to those Dad Bods. A big player in that game for us is Trainwell. So we've been working with Trainwell for a couple of weeks now. And what's your take on it?
I was struggling to get to the gym. We were just running, but I couldn't get to the gym. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing because all this running and the next thing I know, I need to work out, but I'm just like, I'm so tired. And so through juggling my work, through juggling my time with my family and the running, I had to find something that was going to give me accountability and allow me to do what I need to do.
Well, and that's why I think that Trainwell has done so well for me is that even though you have a history in weightlifting, and I used to spend quite a bit of time in the gym myself, when you end up getting to don the title of Dad Bod, what comes with that is all the different responsibilities that life throws at you with family, with work, and with finances and all that stuff. So you kind of lose the drive to go to the gym because it's more about surviving, getting through the day, and making sure that everybody you love has what they need. But Trainwell has taken the guesswork out of it for me.
Well, you know what I love about it is it's personalized. So your workout is different than my workout. So Nate is our trainer. I'm texting Nate daily. Everything is pictured and everything's in slow motion. So it shows me exactly what I need to do. He's personalizing it to exactly what I need at the moment.
So download Trainwell today and get your free 14-day trial because it's not just about getting fit. It's about showing up for yourself. And the best way that listeners can get access to this themselves is by heading to go.trainwell.net/dadbodsandbeards. Okay, so Tyson just pressured us into something again.
It's what I do.
Well, we all pressured Samantha.
Well, I asked him, and he's like, you want me to do it? You want me to do it?
He's like,
That's paybacks for you from last night? Yeah.
So just like what we did with our buddy James, James had a really cool story where just the kind of the comeback with his kid and the relationship, and his son was sitting there watching the whole thing. He's in his 20s now, and we brought James Jr. in real quick.
Yeah.
And so Tyson had the idea, if you're okay with it, this is Samantha Michaelis. This is the
Rock.
You missed the first 45 minutes where this guy just was singing everybody your praise.
45 minutes?
Yeah.
45 minutes of talking about me? Oh,
so we wanted to bring you on really quick.
We talked about the whiteboard. We talked about everything.
Oh, yeah.
She remembers the whiteboard.
I definitely did that. Yes.
So we do. One of the biggest things, like I guess one of the feathers in our cap is that we actually do have quite a few women that listen to the show, kind of like insight into a man's brain a little bit.
We have a ton
So
of
we have a
women.
lot of
Not only
women
that,
that'll
if
be
they got a
like,
man that struggled, it could give them some insight on.
Well, and we have a lot of women who listen. And it's like, husband, you need to listen to this. And the husband's like, nah. And then they start listening. Like, these guys are pretty funny.
so if, I mean, as much or as little as you feel like sharing, what was it like back in the harder times with Robert?
And then versus now, and you, how you saw the transition and how you as a wife was able to handle it and work with it. And
So it was actually pretty rough because I was going through nursing school at the time that he was like really struggling. So it made it harder for me because I really didn't have him there to help. And we have 2 kids at home at that time too. So it made it really, really hard to be able to, go through school. And when I had to really focus and be able to, and like nursing school is hard. So you need that support. Like you need that extra support. Also going through nursing school, like I seen the side effects of things that he was doing. And like I was reading about it and the medications and stuff that he was taking. So that's when I got to the point I was like, I'm seeing this. I know it's because of the medication, the way you're acting is all due to that. So that's when I started to like push at him. And like you said, with the whiteboard, I got a whiteboard one day, wrote all the side effects of the medication that he was on and all the side effects of what he was actually doing at that time too. So I just took that time and just kept pushing at him. And then it got worse because he was so mad at me because I was, pushing him.
She was calling me out.
I was calling him out, right?
She was dead on too.
What
when
man,
I
like-
walked by out and I saw all that I was doing, I knew it in my head. I was numbing it, but I knew that was me. And I was mad at her for showing me it's a mirror. That's you. And I saw it that whiteboard is ingrained in my head. I see it almost every day still to this day. And I think it was one of the things that played a role in me in saving my life because I could physically see it every day. I think I ripped it down one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I ripped it and she put it right back up.
And we love this and why we want to bring you on is because a lot of times, and this is true, is that men on first interaction were like, no, we don't want to be called out. No.
Yeah.
We don't, especially
Yeah,
no one wants to.
especially by the person
Yeah.
who knows us better than we know ourselves.
Yes.
For sure.
And it's like a lot of times you'll get some guys that'll be like, oh, well, she's nagging me, or oh, she's this, or she's being this. I'm like, no, like the one person in your life who has every right to have no filter. And I mean, there's a lot of similarities when, my wife, Chelsea, when I was in the parking lot surrounded by the police, wanting for everything to be done, and her finally being like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
We're not doing this anymore. You're getting help. And it's like, that was a moment for me where it was like, no, my immediate reaction was, no, I'm fine. And her response was, no, you're not. Look where you're at.
Yeah.
And so I think that we wanted to bring you on and talk about this for a minute because as a man, when you take that step back and you take that criticism full of love that it is, that's when I think the change really starts. I mean, it may not happen in that moment, but
it
the
does
seeds
not
get
happen in that
planted.
moment. You don't look at it as
No,
love.
he kept doing what he was
Got
doing.
worse,
He kept going,
further
got
out,
worse.
further,
Finally, I was
further.
like, I'm getting out of here. I'm taking the kids with me. Got out, like left him there, left him behind. And finally he was like, I can't live without my family. So like I broke him down even more, like when I did leave, but finally he was like, what do I need to do to get you back? And I was like,
I remember sitting there having a conversation.
Yeah.
Imagine holding your ground. She's like, no,
Yeah.
absolutely not. She knew I was still using. She knew that I had relapsed again. And she's sitting there. She's like, no, absolutely not.
Good for you.
But it saved my
he
life.
would even call me, like he ended up going to treatment and he would call me from treatment. He's like, please come get me. I'm like, absolutely not. Did they tell you can go? As soon as they call me, then that's when I'll come get you.
And
I
now,
left that out. So I was begging her and my father.
Yeah.
so now I mean, I don't need to use the word easy, but like recounting it, it's like, oh, I'm just telling you the story. But in that moment, okay, what's the other side of the phone for you? Like, how is it like saying no? And every part of you, I'm sure, is probably wanting to like go get him. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
No, I did not want. I wanted him to be better. Like I did not want to come back until he was better. Like
That was
I
a
wouldn't
nightmare.
have.
She didn't
I
wanna
wouldn't
come
have.
get
If
me.
he wouldn't have went, no, I would have been gone. Like, yeah.
yeah.
Like it was to the point. Like I even went to the courthouse and like got his custody removed and everything. So
I think
yeah,
there was
it
a point I was
bad.
paying child
no.
support.
Yeah, he was.
Like it's
Actually, there was a long point of paying child support because you came back and like we never actually got a divorce, so
Yeah.
we were still together. And child support, like it's really hard in Florida to make it go away, or like you can get it like this and it's no problem, but to make it like I went to the courthouse multiple times after he was better and was like, can you please, we live
I was
together,
still
we're
coming out my
married,
check.
can you please stop taking this from my husband?
That's a great
Like,
reminder. When
I mean,
you're
I'm
getting
glad
clean.
I'm getting it, but
It's a great reminder when you're getting clean that you're still like
Yeah.
every time I'd see my check, I was there's that dumbass. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
So how is it all stark in comparison to now?
Oh, 100% better, different person. Like, I mean, like you said, how much he was talking about me. Like, that's how he is. Like, I don't know. Maybe it took that to make him realize that.
We talked about you got to get broken to get fixed. We,
Yeah.
you know, we talked about that too.
But
Well,
he's always grateful. He sends me text
Everything
messages.
you guys do, you do together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yep.
And usually anything, I'm like, all right, I got to get a ticket for Samantha and maybe start over there. You know what I mean? And
Well,
it's-
even last night with him trying to go last night, he's like, I'm not going. I'm like, yeah, you are. Like, what does it take for you to go? Like, you're going to this. And he's like, well, can you come with me? I'm like, I don't want to. I want to go sleep. But if that's what's going to get you to go,
and
then
every
yes.
time that happens, like even when I shared last night in the sauna, like I was so tired. I was jet lagged. I didn't
He
want
was
to.
so bugged that I
Yeah.
I didn't want to come here, but I needed that. Like that, everything had. Say you're religious. God put me in that sauna for a reason. I felt it so much last night. I felt it when I woke up this morning. It made coming in here easier today. And when she nudges me, social media post, she nudges me. She
Really?
pushes. Absolutely.
Pushes him to be better. Like,
I don't feel. No, this sounds. I feel. Have you guys heard of imposter syndrome?
Oh,
Yeah, all the
100%.
time.
Yeah.
I struggle. Like I feel like it's fake. I feel like I don't deserve it. It bothers the shit out of me. And that's my hype man. That's
She's
my
awesome,
hype
man.
That's my hype man.
Well, we loved you, and my family loves you. Like, that was when someone in my life was struggling really, really bad, right before something happened. Like, sheesh. And I remember your son helped her,
yeah.
and she still remembers that to this day. And she's like, oh, I don't want to go because I'm embarrassed, and it's just like, no, they love you. Like,
Yeah.
But no, you guys are amazing people, and I'm grateful for you guys. Sheesh.
I think we all cried on this one.
And I still remember the email you sent me, right? So these were
Yeah.
my spams, and you
Imposter syndrome, right there.
yeah.
Oh,
And when you sent that email, I brushed so many of those off. Not sounding like I get so many, but for some reason I answered yours. And look at today. And look at what my son said to your daughter. You know what I mean? And look how you remember me talking to my son at the Buffalo Wild Wings. We drove an hour to, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. My kids still talk about you too.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is it's all about human interactions and it's all about human connections. And when we talk about this a lot, like with Brock, our coach, is that the best way to heal a sick dog is you put them in a healthy pack. And sometimes, that pack has to take you down a couple notches and make you realize that, like, hey, to be a part of this pack, you've got to perform at a higher level because we expect this higher level to be a part of this family, and family extends so much farther past blood, right? And so the perspective of your whole story, Robert, of like, where you've come from to where you're at now, and then, Sam, your story coming on and sharing the other side of it, briefly, like, this is what changes people's lives. We talk about motivation versus discipline a lot and things like that. But I think my biggest takeaway from this is just talking about like that perspective change of that rock bottom is a firm foundation to build off of. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you really find out who you are until you hit face first on that rock bottom.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle Kilosin.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the exact same way. He was in prison in solitary for 3 years. He didn't realize it was 3 years. And he got to the point where he's like, I've never prayed before. I don't even know how to pray, but I saw it on a movie once.
Yeah.
And he got on his knees and prayed. And right then and there, he's like, okay. And it changed his life. And it's just like all of a sudden instant gratitude, instant everything. And it's just like, hey, this is going to be tough. Life isn't easy, but we can do it.
It does. And it just comes so natural now. And it just is what it is. People will mess with me like, how do you do it? I was like, I just do it. I just do it. Some days are harder, but I know I need to. The steps and the foundation, like the wake up list, we talked about it, the gratitude, action, and service. And I feel like that's just built such a house. So I feel like I can't leave those out every day. Every single day I have to do those things. And being of service, sometimes it's putting out a video. Being of service is sending a text to somebody saying, hey, I'm so fucking grateful for the impact you had on my life. I send her texts all the time. People on my phone, I'll be like, I texted this guy one time. I remember him. I met him somewhere. Hey, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
That's all
I've
kindness. It's
definitely
free.
gotten
It's free.
I've definitely gotten the thinking about you today, brother text. And
You
those
hit my
mean a
gratitude list, and it's true. Like you do. I'll be sitting there like, you know what? And sometimes you might. I don't know if you guys watch Pat McAfee, but he says, "Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It could change or save their life," and it is absolutely true. And it's so easy.
He even has our children doing it, the gratitude list. Like, what are you grateful for today? So every day in our chat message, he's like, what are y'all grateful for? And makes them
now the answers
tell
are
us.
funny, but
Well, he'll call one kid out at a time. Like today it's Caden, tomorrow it's Channing. Like,
That's
I
cool.
know-
what are you grateful for?
but my son, I could see the changes in my 14-year-old's coming around, but the 20 Ashton's amazing.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
He's doing so good. But Caden, he's got emotions like me. So he'll tell me, Dad, I was just, he'll send me text, hey Dad, I was sitting here he sent me one the other day. I'm just so thankful for this family, and I'm so thankful for you guys, and I'm so thankful for everything you do for us, and to have your 18-year-old kid send you that, and knowing you did that, I played a part. I made him that way, and he's gonna make his kids that way. It's amazing, man.
I mean, there's no better win than that, dude. And I wish we could sit here forever and talk with you guys. I mean,
I thought an hour I wasn't gonna be able to fill
Oh
it.
no, dude. We call this.
And I'm like, whoa.
We call this in like the most humble way possible. We call it the dad bod effect. That like we will get big old burly dudes on here, and then it's just like when you have that campfire talk, that like riding in the truck talk with your buddies and stuff like that, and we pride ourselves in kind of building out this like, hey, this is okay. Let's talk about this. Mm-hmm. And then we want those who are listening to podcasts to feel like they're just riding in the truck with us.
Yeah,
like
it does.
Riding in the car.
We're 47th ranked and unscripted.
Yeah.
But we are Apple's #1 podcast for the word beard.
There you go, Alex. I like that.
So, dude,
I thought it was
Robert,
hilarious.
Samantha, thank you guys so much for coming. I mean, we've got a big day tomorrow. We are running.
Gotta wake up at 4 o'clock and run 26 miles.
So we're
On
gonna,
purpose.
Yeah.
I flew here to do that.
Yeah. So we're gonna knock that out. We're gonna do some fun stuff tonight, and then we got a big run tomorrow, and then a big family fun barbecue. But just thank you guys. I mean, I know it's cliche at this point, but like, I'm so grateful for you guys coming all the way out.
I'm
here
more grateful
this.
that you let me do this.
And just, I mean, I already freaking loved you guys, but like, just, I mean, there's so much of your story that we didn't even know. And I'm grateful that we get to help share that with so many other people, because I know for a fact you're going to hit people right in the face in the best way possible. So we will link everything for Robert. I mean, you guys probably already follow him. If you're following us, you know for a fact you're following him, but we're going to link all that stuff. You need to write a book called The Wake Up List, 100%. But check out Robert, and yeah, I'm just grateful. I got nothing else. Yeah. So we'll catch you guys next week.